There are some stories that just stick with you, the kind that make you look twice at ordinary places, shopping malls, parking lots, places you've been 1,000 times without thinking twice. This is one of those stories. So picture this. It's November 6th, 1993, Dallas, Texas. A Saturday afternoon at Northridge Mall, one of those massive sprawling shopping centers that was absolutely packed on weekends back in the 90s. You know the kind, food court on one end, anchor stores on the other, and that weird smell of pretzels mixed with department store perfume. A woman named Susan Hartley took her daughter there that day. Her name was Amy Hartley, 7 years old, blonde hair, wearing a purple windbreaker and light-up sneakers, the kind that flashed when you walked. Susan remembers because Amy had begged for those shoes for weeks. They were shopping for Amy's cousin's birthday present. Nothing unusual, just a normal Saturday. They stopped at the toys store, you know, one of those big chains that don't exist anymore. Susan was looking at board games, and Amy was standing right next to her, holding a stuffed rabbit she wanted. Susan turned around to grab something off the shelf, turned back. Amy was gone. Now look, I know what you're thinking. Kids wander off all the time, right? They see something shiny, they follow another kid, they get distracted. It happens. Parents panic for 5 minutes. Find them by the candy aisle. Everything's fine, but this wasn't that. Susan called Amy's name. Nothing. She checked the next aisle, then the next. Then she's running through the whole store, her voice getting louder, more desperate. Store employees started helping. They locked down the exits, made an announcement over the PA system. Would Amy Hartley please come to the customer service desk? Your mother is looking for you. Nobody came. Within 20 minutes, mall security was involved. Within an hour, the police were there. Within 2 hours, they were treating it as an abduction. Because here's the thing, and this is what made it so terrifying. Northridge Mall had security cameras. Not everywhere, but at all the main entrances and exits. And in 1993, that was actually pretty advanced for a shopping mall. The police pulled the tapes. They watched every single exit for the entire afternoon. Amy Hartley never left that building. At least, not on camera. So the police did what they had to do. They searched the entire mall. I mean the entire thing. Every store, every storage room, every janitor's closet, every bathroom. They brought in dogs. They interviewed hundreds of people who'd been shopping that day. Nothing. No witnesses, no signs of struggle, no trace of a 7-year-old girl in a purple windbreaker. It was like she just vanished into thin air. Now, in cases like this, you know how it goes. The first 48 hours are critical. After that, the chances of finding a missing child alive drop dramatically. The police worked around the clock. They set up a command center right there in the mall. They interviewed employees, looked into anyone with a criminal record who'd been in the area. Susan Hartley appeared on the local news, begging for information. You can still find the footage if you look hard enough. She's sitting there, mascara running down her face, holding that stuffed rabbit Amy had wanted, and she just keeps saying, "Please, please, if you have her, just bring her home." But nobody came forward. Nobody had seen anything. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. And Northridge Mall, life went on, stores opened, people shopped, kids ran around the food court. It's like the building just swallowed what happened and kept going. Susan never stopped looking. For 22 years, she never stopped. She'd go back to that mall sometimes, just walk through it. Like maybe if she retraced her steps enough times, some answer would appear. People in Dallas started to forget. I mean, not entirely, but you know how it is. New tragedies happen, new headlines take over. Amy Hartley became one of those cases you'd see on the back of milk cartons, on those grainy missing persons posters that fade and curl at the edges. Until 2015. That's when Northridge Mall announced they were doing major renovations. The place had been struggling for years. You know, like a lot of malls. Online shopping was killing them. Half the stores were empty. The owners decided to do a complete overhaul, try to modernize, bring people back. So in March of 2015, construction crews moved in. They started tearing down walls, ripping up old flooring, gutting the place to rebuild it from scratch. And that's when they found it. The room. It was behind what used to be a maintenance corridor near the old toy store. The same store where Amy disappeared. The entrance had been sealed up, covered with drywall and painted over so perfectly you'd never know it was there. The construction crew only found it because they were demolishing that entire section. When they broke through the wall, they found a space about 10 feet by 12 feet. No windows. One door that locked from the outside. And inside, a mattress, some blankets, empty water bottles, food wrappers, and children's clothes, including a purple windbreaker. I need you to understand something. This room didn't exist on any blueprint, any floor plan, any official record of the building. It had been constructed in secret, hidden deliberately, and then sealed up just as deliberately. The police were called immediately. They sealed off the entire area, brought in forensics teams, cadaver dogs, the works. They tested everything, DNA, fingerprints, fibers, and they confirmed it. The purple windbreaker belonged to Amy Hartley. But here's where it gets even darker. The forensic analysis showed that room had been used multiple times, over several years. They found traces of different DNA samples, hair from multiple children, evidence that suggested this wasn't just about Amy. This was a pattern. Someone had built that room. Someone with access to the mall's infrastructure. Someone who knew the building well enough to construct a hidden space and keep it secret. Someone who could move through that mall unnoticed. The investigation exploded. Cold case detectives who'd worked Amy's disappearance came out of retirement. The FBI got involved. They started pulling records of everyone who'd worked at Northridge Mall in the early 90s. Maintenance staff, security, contractors, management. And they found him. His name was Leonard Pike, 68 years old in 2015. He'd worked as a maintenance supervisor at Northridge Mall from 1987 to 1996. He had keys to everything, access to every part of the building, knew every corridor and back hallway, and he'd built that room himself, slowly, over months, using materials he'd ordered under the guise of regular maintenance work. Nobody questioned it. He was the maintenance supervisor. Building and repairing things was literally his job. When the police showed up at his house in Fort Worth, he didn't run, didn't resist, just looked at them and said, "I was wondering when you'd finally figure it out." He confessed to everything, not just Amy, but 3 other children over a 9-year period. He'd watch families at the mall, looking for moments of distraction. A parent turning away for just a few seconds. That's all he needed. He'd approach the child, tell them their mom sent him, that there was an emergency, that they needed to come with him right now. And because he wore a uniform, because he looked official, because kids are taught to trust adults in authority, they followed. He'd take them to that room, keep them there for... Look, I'm not going to go into all the details. You can imagine. And when he was done, when he decided it was too risky to keep them any longer, he said he let them go. Said he'd drive them to random locations around Dallas and drop them off. But here's the thing. Out of the 4 children he confessed to taking, only Amy was ever reported missing from that specific mall. The others, they were never found. Their families never got answers. To this day, nobody knows if Leonard Pike was telling the truth about letting them go, or if, well, the hidden room was demolished in 2015, right after the forensic teams finished with it. The entire wing was torn down. The mall owners decided to just erase it. Couldn't rebuild over a crime scene like that. Too much bad energy, too many ghosts. Northridge Mall closed permanently in 2017. Couldn't recover from the publicity. Now it's just this empty concrete shell on the edge of Dallas. All the windows boarded up, parking lot full of weeds. Leonard Pike died in prison in 2019. Heart attack. He was serving 4 consecutive life sentences, but he only made it 4 years. He never told investigators where the other children were, never gave those families closure. And Susan Hartley, she's still alive, still in Dallas. I read an interview with her from 2020, and she said the strangest thing. She said knowing what happened was almost worse than not knowing, because for 22 years, she could hope. She could imagine Amy was out there somewhere, living a different life, maybe with a different family. But now she knows her daughter spent her last moments terrified in a hidden room in a shopping mall, while people walked by on the other side of the wall, shopping and laughing and living their normal lives. You know what haunts me about this? It's not just what happened to Amy. It's how easy it was. How a man could build a torture chamber in a public building, use it for 9 years, and nobody noticed. How he could walk through that mall every day, do his job, chat with co-workers, and nobody saw anything wrong. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other hidden rooms are out there? How many other Leonard Pikes are walking around in uniforms, with keys, with access, just waiting for the right moment? I'll tell you something else. After this story broke, police departments across the country started doing searches of old public buildings scheduled for demolition or renovation, shopping malls, schools, government offices, you name it. And they found more rooms. Not everywhere, but enough. Enough to make you realize this wasn't an isolated case. Enough to make you understand that monsters don't always hide in the dark. Sometimes they hide in plain sight, behind drywall and fresh paint, in places we walk past every single day without thinking twice. So yeah, that's the story of Amy Hartley and the hidden room at Northridge Mall. A story about how a 7-year-old girl vanished in a crowd, how her mother never stopped looking, and how sometimes the worst truth is the one that was right there all along, just waiting to be discovered. If you're still watching, if you made it this far, I don't know, maybe leave a comment. Tell me if you remember this case, or if you've heard similar stories from where you live. Because the thing is, these stories need to be told. These kids need to be remembered. Not as statistics, not as cold cases, but as real people, with real families, whose lives were stolen by someone who knew exactly how to hide in plain sight. And maybe, just maybe, if we keep talking about it, if we keep paying attention, we make it a little harder for the next Leonard Pike to do what he did. Anyway, that's all I've got. Stay safe out there. And next time you're in a public place, next time you're in a mall or a parking garage or anywhere that feels just a little too quiet, pay attention. You never know what's hiding behind the walls.